Going on a trip, sir?
I'm going to my bank to open an account. Don't know how long it'll take. So many forms to fill now.
Come to People's Bank. It will only take 10 minutes.
Debit card, mobile and internet banking along with cardless cash facilities can now be opened in just 10 minutes with no form filling with People's Bank Digital Banking.
Thank you very much for letting me know. It took less time than finishing my morning cup of tea.
People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
In a few moments, the news.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. The President points out that the government institutions should function efficiently. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says the newly passed bill will pave way for increasing the target of renewable electricity generation up to 70%. The UN launches plan to provide over $47 million life-saving assistance to 1.7 million people in Sri Lanka. Posuan Festival will be celebrated in Anuradhapura next week. Sri Lankans are allowed to attend Hajj pilgrimage. 65,000 metric tons of urea provided by the Government of India will reach the country early next month. News overseas, Ukrainians vow to fight back in eastern region as Russians step up offensive. In sports, India batter Mithal Raj retires from international cricket. And those are the headlines. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says Sri Lanka must build trust in the international community regarding its port by providing an efficient service utilizing modern technology. Participating in a progress review meeting held at the President's House, Colombo, yesterday, President Rajapaksa noted that the Port of Colombo operates with all the world's leading shipping companies. The President pointed out that the government institutions such as the Satosa and the Building Materials Corporation could prevent corruption and earn revenue for the government from the sale of such goods. The President also instructed to explore the possibility of setting up a training unit for the young employees of the Ports Authority targeting foreign employment opportunities. During the meeting, the need to complete the construction of the second terminal at the Bandaranaike International Airport and the eastern jetty of the Colombo port within the stipulated time period was discussed in detail. Sri Lanka Electricity Amendment Draft Bill was passed by a majority of 84 votes in Parliament. 8 orders under the Sri Lanka Electricity Amendment Draft Bill and Mineral Resources Bill were also taken up for debate in Parliament yesterday. Taking part in the debate, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that the newly passed bill will pave way for increasing the target of renewable electricity generation in the country up to 70%. Minister Ramesh Pattanana said renewable energy sources should be pursued to generate electricity at a lower cost. He pointed out that it will cost less than 20 rupees to produce a unit of electricity if renewable energy sources are used. Opposition leader Sajid Premdas said electricity projects of more than 10 megawatts should be under competitive bidding. He said they would not stand by diesel, coal and thermal power plant mafia. He further said that they are against selling the country's solar and wind power generation at low prices to foreign companies. Parliamentarian Gamini Lokuge said a mafia is in operation against renewable energy projects. Parliamentarian Nalin Bandara said serious issues can arise in future by giving manacos to companies such as Adani Group to generate electricity. Taking part in the debate in the Parliament yesterday, Parliamentarian Vijit Herat said no one will oppose to promote renewable energy sources. However, he said it is not suitable to abolish tender process for such projects. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
The United Nations has said that it has launched a plan to provide over $47 million of life-saving assistance to 1.7 million people worst hit by the economic crisis in Sri Lanka. The UN team in Sri Lanka and non-governmental organizations has launched a joint humanitarian needs and priorities plan calling for $47.2 million to provide life-saving assistance to 1.7 million people worst hit by the economic crisis over a 4-month period from June to September. The UN said development and humanitarian partners in Sri Lanka estimate that nearly 5.7 million women, children and men are in need of immediate life-saving assistance. Poson Festival will be celebrated in grand scale in Anuradhapura next week. Sri Lanka Transport Board has made arrangements to run additional amount of buses for the convenience of the pilgrims. AIA Insurance will continue its commitment towards one of the Sri Lanka's longest-standing corporate social responsibility projects, the AIA Poson Safety Program, for the 27th year this Poson Day. Buddha Sasana Religious and Cultural Affairs Minister Vidura Wickramanayake granted permission for sending Hajj pilgrims from Sri Lanka this year. Minister said the government of Saudi Arabia had given a quota of 1,585 pilgrims from Sri Lanka. Minister Vidura Wickramanayake also advised the Hajj Tour Operators Association to make arrangements as per the guidelines of the central bank and to charge the reasonable amount as the charges of pilgrim or Hajj pilgrimage this year. The Muslim Religious and Cultural Affairs Department has informed that Sri Lankans who would be interested in performing Hajj this year to confirm their participation before today. The applicants would be requested to provide details requested by department and make required payments to the Department of Muslim Religious and Cultural Affairs and obtain an official receipt of payment. And that's local news.
Debit card, mobile and internet banking along with cardless cash facilities can now be open in just 10 minutes with no form filling with People's Bank Digital Banking.
Thank you very much for letting me know. It took less time than finishing my morning cup of tea.
People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
65,000 metric tons of urea provided by the government of India will reach to Sri Lankan port early next month, Minister Mahinda Amaravira said. India has imported the stock of urea from the government of Oman for their farmers' use, but considering the situation of Sri Lankan farmers, India has decided to offer the fertilizer stock for the island. Minister also said when the urea stock is received, the government will take measures to provide urea at a concessionary rate. And that came to you in Top News.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight, wearing face masks indoors and outdoors will not be mandatory from today. However, Director General of Health Services Dr. Asila Gunawardena said that it is preferable that the people who are suffering from respiratory disorders wear a face mask. The direction does not prevent people from wearing face masks as per their wish. And that came to you in Watchlight. Up next is World News. Headlines. First, the Ukrainians vow to fight back in eastern region as Russians step up offensive. US House passes gun bill doomed to fail in Senate. Thailand legalizes cannabis trade but still bans recreational use. And those are the headlines of World News. Russian forces are stepping up their offensive in Ukraine's eastern region of Luhansk and Donetsk. Ukrainian forces vow to fight back using a chemical plant in Luhansk as a stronghold. Ukrainian military chiefs have said that the Russian forces are firing mortars, artillery and rockets on cities including Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Ukrainians and Russians have fought in the streets of Severodonetsk. The Ukrainians then pulled back to the chemical plant. And they said they would fight and hold out there as long as possible. Ukrainian officials say civilian infrastructure in the area is under attack. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted through a series of measures regulating the sale of guns, but which are destined to fail in the Senate. The new measures would bar sales of semi-automatic weapons to people under 21 and ban large-capacity magazines. But Republican opposition in the Senate means the bill has little chance of entering law despite a renewed focus on gun control in the wake of a series of mass shootings in the U.S. recently. People in Thailand can now grow cannabis plants at home and sell the crop after the nation removed marijuana from its banned narcotics list. The nation is the first to advance such a move in Southeast Asia, a region known for its strong drug network laws. But recreational use is still banned, even though advocates say the easing of effectively decriminalizes marijuana. The government is hoping that the developing a local cannabis trade will boost agriculture and tourism. And that's world news. And in development news, Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda inaugurated the operations of the Kalamitia and Velimankara fishing ports yesterday. The minister handed over the documents for the fishing ports to Sri Lankan Fisheries Ports Corporation at an event organized by the Ministry of Fisheries. Fisheries Minister said the government has spent 4.5 billion rupees to construct these two ports. He also said more than 500 deep-sea fishing boats and around 300 one-day fishing boats will benefit from the fishing ports. And that came to you in development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Legendary Indian batter Mithali Raj has announced her retirement from international cricket. The 39-year-old retires as the all-time leading run scorer in women's one-day international with 7,805 runs at an average of 50.68. The right-hander scored 114 not out on an ODI debut against Ireland in 1999 at just 16 years of age, and she remains India's highest run scorer in women's T20 international, having retired from the format of 2019. And that came to you in sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Oil prices topped $120 a barrel in a choppy trade this week, by Saudi Arabia raising its July crude prices, but amid doubts that a higher output target of OPEC and oil producers would ease tight supply. Brent crude oil was up by 64 cents or 0.5% to $120.36 a barrel at 13:39 GMT after touching an intraday high of $121.95. And that was business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The total number of international tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka during May 2022 was around 30,200. The tourist arrivals for the month of May have plunged by almost 52% in comparison to April and 72% in comparison to March 2022, which recorded the highest number of tourist arrivals up to May 2022. This could be a result of the effects of the current economic and political situation in Sri Lanka and the gradual cessation of the peak travel season, Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority data showed. And Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority expects a high in the tourist arrivals in coming months. And that came to you in Economic News.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Finally, in the weather report, the Met Department says the showers will occur at times in Sabaragamuwa province and in Kandy, Nuwara and Kalutura districts. Several spells of showers will occur in northwestern province and in Gampaha, Gaol, Colombo and Mathura districts. Fairly strong winds up to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in Trincomalee and Hambantota districts. Before we wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points once again. The President points out that the government institutions should function efficiently. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says that the newly passed bill will pave way for increasing the target of the renewable electricity generation up to 70%. The UN launches plan to provide over $47 million life-saving assistance to 1.7 million people in Sri Lanka. Posun Festival will be celebrated in Anuradhapura next week. Sri Lankans are allowed to attend Hajj pilgrimage. 65,000 metric tons of urea provided by the Government of India will reach the country early next month. And with that, we conclude this morning news broadcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.